Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. Good morning, John. Good morning, Patrick. Happy Snow Friday. It snowed here overnight. Yay. Woke up this morning, completely pitch black, turned on the lights to let the dogs out, and it was snow everywhere. So, yay for this. I guess it's my final farewell to snow. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Anissa. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Good morning, people in the background who don't chime in. Thank you for tuning in. So, where do we sit today? Let's just get through stuff real quick. Oh, here we go. Good morning, AS. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Heinrich. All right, there we go. Snow in March. Yeah, it snowed. And we're supposed to get more today. And tomorrow's supposed to be really cold, and then it's supposed to warm up again. Hey, Richard. You're saying hi to Powell. Well, Powell's in a conference right now, so he's not here. Hey, Eric. Again, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. So, let's see. This market's looking pretty tough. Can we look at Dow? Good morning, Roll Palms. Just remind me. Good morning, Sterling. Work gets in the way of a perfectly good day. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. Again, I always appreciate you being here. So, yesterday we had the S&P Composite Manufacturing and Services. There was a lot of inflationary undertone to that. A lot in the report. A lot of inflationary undertone, which we saw a big reversal in the dollar. Closing above the 62.5. Remember, I said watch dollar and the yields yesterday, and the dollar really reversed. Gold pulled back. We talked about, stops for percent B. Also yesterday. So we have today Barr speaking and the rig counts and Bostic speaking. But Bostic speaking right at the cash close. So that's where you said the futures will be open while he's still speaking. But so it's a very quiet day besides for Fed speak. In terms of the S&P, Tesla down, sort of mixed. Apple a slight bounce after the announcement. There we go. Apple now back down. Still slight up after the the Fed's going after Apple now for how do you have a monopoly on the smartphone market when you're only 51% of the market? I don't know. Everything's insane. Micron's still up. Accenture up. FedEx, where's Nike's down after earnings? FedEx was up. Where's my FedEx in here? I'll have to look. But that was definitely up. I was looking to open around, there it is. Looking to open around the 87.5 to complete the 87.5 harmonic rule. So, what is going on with these numbers? All right. So that's where we sit there. Let's see. Hey, Christoph. Good morning, McRangers. Everybody's filtering in. All right. So, let me just hit the refresh here. But we have technology up a bit now, and comm services and consumer cyclical down, but technology is sort of leading the day, 75 basis points, 74. Still, the pause in May. The June rate cuts are still drifting somewhat higher, probability-wise. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. Back, we're in extreme greed again, and Schiller PE over 35 again. Not a cheap market. No earnings today. Now, FedEx gap up. Lululemon was down last time I checked after earnings, and Nike was down. FedEx, let's just FedEx. So we have remember, it closed above the 62.5. It took a while. It chopped back and forth, but nothing invalidated it. Coming back to key support, then ramping up, and it's 292 was up closer to 296, but still watching for this to take out that 296 level, which would be a very, very key resistance point also. So if you're long FedEx, again, can't give trading advice, but I'd be looking at those levels to possibly at least raise a stop from my perspective. So we're still getting to cyclical tops back on the daily, very overbought. I am paying close attention to yesterday's low area. That's where I'm paying close attention. We're channeling a channel pullback so far. But if we really start breaking down, especially below about 52.90, We'll set up. This would be into a clear path move. A clear path move, a momentum clear path move. And if you look here, there's really only some minor support points, about 52.87 and then 52.79, 52.80. That's have to go down to a 15-minute chart to find. So keep that in mind. In order for me to get bullish, in order for me to get more substantially bullish, it has to start getting above 53.09, 53.10. And as always, that's barring some intraday little key support or key bullish pattern. But there's no major bullish pattern up here right now. There isn't. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. There is no major bullish pattern here. So I'm more watching because it's a quiet day. So we could go into choppier. I'm keeping an eye also on Meta. Keeping an eye on Tesla breaking down again. Keeping an eye on NVIDIA. We'll go through some key things I'll be watching intraday. You see here on the weekly basis, very strong up week. Still massively overbought on so many different levels. Still no reconnection with the rotation zone. Am I expecting a huge shock today? No. If we start breaking below yesterday's lows, though, I'll sit up and take a little more notice. That's the 52.93 area, but 52.91 is really key for me. NASDAQ. Got the bigger channel pullback, slight bounce in technology, but again, you're into a clear path move. We're breaking down below some very key levels. Going into the open, I'm watching this 18,525 area. If we fall back into the clear path move, you're really the only support in here, even on a 15 minutes, about 18,485 to about 18,450. Those are the only two support points. And then you collapse back into the J. Powell breakout, the Fed day breakout area. So do keep that in mind, especially if the tick starts breaking down, we get spikes below 1,000, start paying attention to this bigger backfill area. Other than that, the only thing that I can start watching for to get me into a more bullish bounce mode is back above about 18,600. 18,595, 18,600. You can see that little area right in here. Right here to here. That's the area's key resistance. So on any rally up there, I'd be looking for sell signals unless we really start closing above that level. Dow, sideways, not even a channel pullback, sitting against the key harmonic 40,160. Again, Dow breakout area is about 40,250. If we do break down, minor support 40,100, major support back at 40,000. That's just how the numbers work out. Russell, trying to roll over here. You don't have a double top up here, but key support really on the Russell is 2108. 2108 after the big bounce back up to the upper channel line. So, going to be watching that, and we're far away out from yesterday's low, so if it had a bigger breakdown, it's about 2101 to 2102. Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Legion Reaver. All right, the VIX still little potential reversal with yesterday's dollar strength in the VIX, but again, it's got to start really accelerating above about 1335 before I get more into overall sell mode. The DAX, still 18,560 areas next target up. Other than that, longer term perspective, it's still in trailing mode. No topping pattern, no strong topping pattern, a lopsided little double, so you can pay attention to. If you're a DAX trader, if it starts closing on a 4-hour basis below 18,328, I'd sit up and take notice of that it could be starting at least a pullback. Notes. Surprising enough, we had the bearish bar. I'm paying attention to yesterday's high and low in the notes futures. Yesterday's high and low were key for me, especially for coming into 110.26.5 as key resistance. I'm going to be paying attention to that very strongly today, but a little bounce up. Yields tried to recover slightly yesterday. The key level still for the yields, which doubt we'd be hitting that today, but 4.15 on a closing basis. Other than that, we'll be watching for, as we get back to cycle bottoms going into next week, we'll be watching for another bottoming pattern in here. The 2 years, still after this double that's messed up, still not able to get above the 200 again. The pullback, thought we might be getting a setup here yesterday, but we broke above it and then a quick reversal yesterday's high. So nothing from my perspective today. The 10-2s, not much to talk about. Dollar index, we do have something to talk about. So we had the pullback. Strong reversal yesterday, and I said I'm watching the dollar. We got after that S&P manufacturing, composite and services with the inflationary, you closed back above 103.60. This could get interesting. Now, next target, we already hit that 75. Next target, 104.26. So paying very close attention to this because that was a key reversal day on a closing basis, not a full-blown outside bar, but a very strong key reversal day. Crude, watching now going into next week, we're getting cycles still dropping. We could be setting up for some kind of stronger bottoming pattern. Right now, that's a very icky double the 4 hour. Paying attention to this little area on the 1 hour to see if this holds up. To see if this holds up with a bounce play with the rig counts coming out, but that would just be a potential return to about 81, 82 and the last little high area from Thursday. So the thing I'm watching in crude. Gold, with the dollar reversal yesterday, a key area reversing down, but did not close below 62.5. Today, though, coming down and testing. Now, I talked about the percent B buy. This is why I always like for short-term bounces to at least raise a stop and or possibly take something off and not get in greedy mode. This would have wiped it out from my perspective. Okay? This would I would not be holding this anymore from people trying to use a stop for this because you got a very strong reversal with that dollar. And then we followed through and traded also below the 75, not on a closing basis, but on a trade through basis. So if you're trying to incorporate that little bounce there, what's fascinating to me is look at how come on the big rotation up days you get the settlement price being wacky, but on the big down, the big reversal down days, the settlement price is pretty much where it closed. Not saying anything beyond that. I'll get to sterling stuff in a minute. Hold on. Euro pulling back. Keep an eye on here because now we had the support from the 50% harmonic and the flat 200 that it's now below today. So unless this can really bounce up and get above 108.40 on a closing basis, the key line in the sand is still 108, but I'm going to be paying attention to this 108.40 today. And then going into next week, this 108. If you get the close below 108, going to watch for a retest of the mid-February lows. The spiders, a slight gap down today. So first area of targets for any upside would be 522.20. And then you really can't get into more bullish mode until it starts getting above about 523, 523.20. Other than that, holding the 1 hour rotation zone on any play here, the gap fill would be back to 520.45. All right, and you have 520.30 something about is a key harmonic area. So those are the levels there. Those Qs. Gap down today, 445.49, looking at 445.87. That's also very key resistance where it closed yesterday. You can see that. Multiple days of price rejection of this area. So I'd be paying very close attention. If it does rally, even spikes through that, I'd be paying very close attention to that 445, not 85, 445.90 area on a closing basis. Minor support coming in about 445.25, and the major area is the 443.77, which is not only due to yesterday. I'm going to put another line on here. Not only due to yesterday, but this, you see a key low back from Monday the 4th, the key closing price from Tuesday the 12th, and the key closing price for J Powell Wednesday. So that is a very strong level, 433.65. Bitcoin, after triggering the pattern reversal, and now the move back down, but nothing really new there. So let's just get through some other stuff, then I'll look at your question. Tesla, gapping, rotation zone, moving back down. The only thing in the short term I'm going to be paying attention to is close below 167, about 20 area. I mean, if you're a Tesla strong bull looking for something, you want it to actually pull below 164.93 and then reverse up. I'm just watching for the continued breakdown in Tesla with the longer term patterns. Dell, you asked for, and then I want to go through a couple other things I'm watching. Dell, you had the gap up from earnings from the last little run up, and I use the gap harmonics, but your key line in the sand is really this. I know the 62.5 is at 99.45, but if you lose this 105 area on a closing basis, would it not be fairly good for Dell? I'd imagine you'd get the gap fill then. The key resistance area has to get back above. You see this resistance shelf right here and the 62.5. 121.16. Other than that, I'd be watching for rollover plays in Dell. Now, a couple other key things I'm keeping an eye on. NVIDIA. Yesterday, the gap up, rejected from the 62.5 again. No close above this 924.37. Remember, it ran up there on Monday the 18th and dropped back down. Yesterday, dropped back down. So still watching. NVIDIA can't get any recovery traction yet. Now, it's not dropped below the rotation zone or anything, but I'm paying very close attention because of where the markets are from a very overbought standpoint. Because if NVIDIA is essentially the major leader now, and if that can't get the close above 924.37, that's key. Also, one other thing, Meta. I'm going to point these out. This is a sloppy double. Not saying this ever has to trigger, but if it does get the close below 476, could also be. Meta's one of the few remaining leaders in here. That looks like it could. That's the key breakdown area. So if you start getting NVIDIA not able to close above that key level and Meta breaking down, we could be getting some leadership breakdown. Remember, Apple's already broken down. Apple's already broken down. Big reversal yesterday of the, government going after, Justice Department going after Apple. I think they're going to go after, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Google is looking very toppy again. Very toppy. So keep an eye on some of these. Didn't quite get to double top area, but I'll be watching to see if it does, and then a rollover play from that. All right. You're very welcome, Eric. I'm glad I can help and share stuff. Thoughts on commodity prices as an indicator of true inflation. Do you agree with that? Take a look at, what is this? TRJEFFCRB. Oh, there it is. Never looked at that one. I mean, this is core commodity. This is very strong. I think it's got a major correlation because especially the raw materials running into at least does not drop inflation and can keep it at a more elevated level. And you've seen how this has trended. Remember, Look how it's trended since December. This can mean inflation is getting more entrenched. Now, if you're watching this index and it really starts breaking above here, this 290 level, I'd pay very close attention. And all this stuff, you can do the full-blown technical analysis on it. I mean, just because it's an index, and look where that sits with the 50. You know, you start coming up here, look at the 62.5 with the little spike up here. I'd set an alert. And really on any pullback, even into the daily rotation zone, and look, here's another area. Fantastic, look at that. 37.5 harmonic. Resistance. It tried to break above it, turning into resistance again. This is key support. So on any pullback to 282, definitely rotation zone pullback. Be watching for this thing to take out that 290 to 291.70 area. It could be get off to the races again, which would not be good for inflation. So thank you, Sterling, for putting in the TRJEFFCRB. Yeah, remind me of that. If you see this is not something I'll probably watch every day, but if you, Sterling, if you do, I'll set an alert, actually. I'm going to set an alert. Oh, I'll have to set an alert over here. Add alert. I'm setting an alert. There we go. So there, that's going to alert me if that breaks out. So keep an eye on that from an inflationary commodity thing. That's why I love people typing stuff into the chat like this. That is fantastic because I actually think the yields are being a little lax. They started to get some traction again yesterday. We still, I mean, look at this. The yields are just selling down again. Again, I have not broken a key level. This market is just very, very complacent. Very complacent. Complacency is not a good thing. Just seeing if anything's changed into the open. So into the open, that's pretty obvious level right there. 5,300. 5,300. So that's the level I'm going to be watching into the open in about 4 minutes. And then 53.11. If it starts breaking below 52, I'm going to raise this about 52.92 even. 52.92 even. Then your only remaining support area is this little back and forth move at the end of JPOW Wednesday. That's the only thing. That's the only support area. If you dive down to the 5 minute, you can see it right here. This little area. That's it. Other on the larger time frames, remember we have a very strong clear path move. So maybe not today, but if we start backfilling next week, that gets interesting. That gets really interesting. I don't have much else to say being a Friday. Again, always be aware on Friday. Don't do, as I say, don't do stupid. Fridays traditionally, historically, have been one of my lower producing days. I don't like the price action as much. You get some strange reversals. You get end of week positioning, especially on a strong week up like this has been. So my personal note to myself is don't do stupid. Make sure you don't take a good week and turn it into a bad week and force things. Hope that can help somebody too. You are welcome, Mark. Again, thank you for being a regular now. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the new people tuning in. I hope there's something that you get of value from here. Also, do not be afraid of chiming into the chat, asking questions, saying things that you're watching too. You know, that's part of this channel, is interactive to help as many people as possible. So we will take questions, we will take comments. Everything is welcome. Where's Cocoa been too? We're still not at 20 and then 24. Are we still getting there, Cocoa? If you're listening on replay, you got to jump in next week. With that, I will wish everybody a wonderful weekend. good luck today, and I will see everybody next Monday. Bye for now. You're welcome, Anissa.